What's up, YouTube? Demonic Midwinter back with another video. Today I'm doing another CD collection video. This will be on section H of my collection. So let's get started. First up, we have three from the same band. We have Hammerfall. The first one is Built to Last, which came out on Napalm Records in 2016. Probably one of my favorite albums from it. Also has one of my favorite songs on it, which is Hammer High. I don't know what it is about that song. It's just an epic power metal track. I love it. Next up, we have Hammerfall with Dominion. This came out in 2019, also on Napalm Records. And this was an incredible album from them. I picked this up from my local record store a while ago, and I absolutely love this album. I saw them in 2019 with Sabaton in New York and Silver Spring, Maryland, back-to-back nights. Two of the best shows I've ever been to. And then finally from Hammerfall, we have their 2020 live album, Live Against the World, which comes with a DVD as well. Yeah, this is an incredible live album from them. I've jammed this a lot, and I'm happy to have this in my collection. Next up, we have an Australian thrash band called Harlot with Detritus of the Final Age. This is a pretty solid thrash metal album. These guys are, like I said, from Australia. I picked this up on a whim because since I had never heard of them, and they are really good. This was, I forget where it was in my year-end list for last year, but it was pretty. I think it was pretty high up there if I could remember correctly. But it was a really good album. Next up, we have Hazard with Delirium. This is a Canadian thrash band who I had first heard about from the Metalhead box when I got a shirt for their song Apocalypse Dawn. This is a solid release from them. This was high up on my album of the year list for last year. It was phenomenal. I can't wait for them to release more music. Next up, we have a band that didn't release music for a while, but they finally did in 2020, which is Heathen with Empire of the Blind. Sorry about that. I need to change this case out eventually. But this is a solid release from them. Also pretty high up on my year-end list from last year. If you haven't checked that video out, definitely go check it out. I'll link it in the description. But definitely check it out. It was one of my first videos I ever made. Next up, we have another live album, this time from Helloween with United Alive in Madrid. This is, again, another live album from one of the greatest power metal bands ever, or heavy metal bands. I can't remember exactly what their subgenre is, but they are a solid band out of Germany. One of the first metal bands I ever heard, actually. Way back, like 10 years ago, I believe, with when I heard their song, I Want Out, I think it was, and I fell in love with them after that. I got that at a local this live album at a local record store, and it's phenomenal. I love it. Next up, we have another 2020 release with Hellripper, The Affair of the Poisons. This is a one-man band out of Scotland, I believe. And he is an insane musician. Oh my god, one of the greatest albums of 2020. I cannot wait for him to release more music. Next up, we have the band Hemotoxin with Restructure the Molded Mind. This is a solid album from a band I just can't remember where they're from off the top of my head, but they are a solid band. Definitely check them out. This is a pretty solid release from them. Came out last year on Unspeakable Acts Records. Really solid stuff from them. Next up, we have an album from one of the most brutal bands I've ever seen live, Hideous Divinity, with Simulacrum. Probably butchering the name of the album, but it's a solid release from probably, like I said before, probably one of the most brutal bands I've ever listened to and seen live. and met as well, actually. I met them at their show on Valentine's Day with Vader in New York City, or Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn. Next up, the next 5 albums are all from, or CDs are all from the same band. We have another band I've met and became pretty close with. We have High Council. We have All Rise. This is their first, which came out in 2005. Then we have Motion Denied, which came out in, I believe, 07. I can't tell when it came out, but yeah, it's just all their music is really great. Then we have Time Served. Most of these are EPs, but they're all incredible. This is a full length, actually, I believe, with Held in Contempt. But most of their albums are EPs, or CDs or EPs. So, but they're incredible in my opinion, and very nice guys as well. And then finally, you have their most recent album or EP, Ember. Definitely solid stuff from them. I definitely would love for them to release more full lengths, but hopefully at some point they do release more of those. And then finally we have an album from the band Hiller, I believe is the pronunciation. I forget where they're from. I believe it's Germany, but this is a re-release of a 2020 reissue of their hold on. Yeah, a 2020 reissue of one of their albums. I forget what year it originally came out, but it's called Fallen but Not Forgotten, which came out on PRC Music. It's a pretty solid album. I believe they're a thrash metal band. I can't remember where I got this one from. I believe it was from the Metalhead box a while back, but it's a really solid album. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll link my album of the year list for 2020 in the description. Anyways, stay metal.